classes of my own.
Let's get this going. Kyle, I appreciate you. And
yeah, for sure,
man. Presented by Sleeper Fantasy. Welcome to Light Years. Andy Liu out tonight. Got to bring in, the backup here. Playing Sacramento Kings. Who do I, basically the Warriors G League affiliate. So who do I know who knows them very well? Friend of the show, Kyle Madsen. Kyle, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm a lot better now than I was 14 and a half seconds prior to Clay's game winner. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, classic trap game, right? Like, jokes aside, classic trap game. Did not feel confident for a few minutes there when they were closing the game out with a lineup of guys, 4 of which are basically you're my height. I was like, this is intriguing. This is interesting. That's a move to go with. But you know what? Clay Thompson comes through at the end. And, he's kind of had a slow start to the season and at subpar camp. Cool to see Clay come through with the big shot at the end.
At some point, I'll stop bitching about Clay. But it's just all the time. I'm like, he's washed. He's washed. And then hit 2-3 in a row or hit a game winner or whatever. Like, I just got to relax.
Yeah, you do. By the way, double check the downward caret next to your mic and make sure you have the correct mic plugged in. Yeah. Anyway, don't worry about it. I don't know. There's so many ways to go about this game. Like, to me, the minute I knew De'Aaron Fox wasn't playing and, the Warriors have a road trip, home for one game and another road trip, I'm like, this is going to be a trickier game than you expect. And it played out that way. Mike Brown threw, quite frankly, he just started doubling Steph. He's like, anyone but Steph beating us type of defense there. And you know what? It threw the Warriors through a loop there. I feel like this is the type of game where you really realize just how valuable it is to have a player like Chris Paul in general. If this was last year and they throw that defense at the Warriors and our old friend Jordan Poole is asked to get everyone else going, I feel like the turnovers might be a little higher. I feel like the Sacramento Kings walk away with the win that they wanted. And, you and I are just in a bad mood on this pod. You're muted. Let's try one more time, Kyle.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, There we go. I was messing with my mic earlier because you said I had the wrong mic, and then I think I turned it off on accident. Okay,
I got in your head. That's my bad.
Dude, yeah, no, I got shook. That's my fault. That's on me. I need to do better. I'm ready now. Let's go. That had all the makings of a Jordan Poole 4 for 18, 13 points, 9 turnover game. If it was Jordan Poole.
Did you see him throw it off the backboard to Kyle Kuzma tonight down 20 some?
Dude, he got booed in Atlanta. Do you know how hard that is to get Atlanta fans to care about anything about that's going on the court?
While you're gifting their team the game.
No, yeah. Andy tweeted this during the game, and I totally agree. Last year they lose that game 136-118.
Yes. That is the exact score.
It's like, yep, that nailed it 100%. But they're just locked in this year in a way that they weren't last year. But B, it's the Chris Paul factor for me. It never feels like outside. They had some bad turnovers tonight. That wasn't awesome, but outside of the possessions that end in, ball bouncing off somebody's leg or somebody mishandling a pass or whatever, it feels like they always get a good shot when Chris Paul's on the floor.
Yeah. Is it too early for buying this team as potentially better than the 2022 title team?
No, I'm not there.
A little too early?
I'm not there.
Too early?
Jordan Poole is really good.
Can you see the makings?
Yeah, you see a way that by March they're there. I think
Okay.
if Jonathan Kuminga is more consistent offensively and Dario Saric figures out how to go up with the basketball in the paint, um, and if Clay hits some shots, then yeah, 100%. And then it depends on what Andrew Wiggins you're getting too, I think. But if you get a locked in playoff Andrew Wiggins, then yeah, sure. But that's like I said, that's a lot of things that have to go right.
Too early. Getting a little too hyped on their first home win of the season.
I think they're title
4-1
favorites now.
start. You know what? Like basically, that's where I'm at right now. I don't know. It just look. I can recognize it's way too early to go here, but it feels like something's brewing with them. Feels kind of how it felt at the early onset of 2022, and feels the complete opposite of how it felt at this time last year.
The
So
vibes are so much better.
maybe it's just like release fresh air, feels better than last year, and I need to just like let them get to 20 games before I make these proclamations. Maybe that's
Yeah.
what we need.
But honestly, with how awful last year was, I get why you're ready to jump all in right now. The vibes are better. Chris Paul has just been
I was hurt last year. I was in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Now, if you know, just honeymoon vibes right now for me. You know, feeling good, buying every piece of Blue Lives Matter merch I can get for Chris Paul. Like, just
stop.
Perfect. Okay, you called out a couple players. Let's get to the game a little bit. So, Dario Saric. The hero, whatever you want to say, but like, I don't know. He hit some key shots to get them back into the game when it felt like they were turning around. He's kind of had I don't want to say inconsistent start to the season for the Warriors. He hasn't really hit shots till tonight, and it hasn't been that great. It was kind of good to see him do that because I do think he can help this team and he's a good player. Like there are flaws there. Like yes, he's probably not a closing lineup player, but you saw kind of what they were looking for from this year. Somewhere in between the Bielitsa and Otto Porter thing, and definitely better than JaMychal Green, who never worked out for them last year.
Yeah, he's 100%. And right as I was complaining about him, he hit that huge three that cut it from 4-1.
Sure.
Is that late third quarter, early fourth quarter? But
right around there, yeah.
It's the minutes at the 5 where he gets a paint touch and then turns it over, whether he drops it or just gets it knocked away. I would like to, like I said, either see him just go up, just get a ball get a shot on the rim, dog. Just go up, or just not get touches in the restricted area, which I would also be fine with. But he was more good than bad tonight for sure.
And it kind of speaks to the depth of this team. Like they're still figuring out their rotation, but it does feel like they have various different players they go to. They closed with Gary Payton II, who's been awesome this season. Kuminga had some good minutes in the first half, had some inconsistency, but him and Moses Moody in general have been positives on the year for them. It's a deeper roster, and deeper so much so that this is the third, crunch time game they haven't closed with Andrew Wiggins, third or fourth, and I couldn't envision that in the last 2 years. I couldn't envision a scenario where Wiggins is not in their final 5-man lineup. But you know what? He's still not all the way back, and it works without him. It's working without him. What else you want to say?
That's the part of this that when you start projecting out toward March and April, and you think, can this team be as good? That's a key piece of it for me. Because if you can take what this closing lineup is and insert Andrew Wiggins for pick your non-Steph player,
sure,
you feel really, really good about that lineup on both ends of the floor. So I'm like, if you get Andrew Wiggins in there instead of GP2, where you add an offensive threat while not losing a ton defensively when you get a locked in Andrew Wiggins, that's where the ceiling gets really, really high for me. But I don't think Wiggins sitting on the bench in crunch time is a sustainable winning model for this version of the Warriors.
Yeah, I view it multiple ways. On the one hand, I do like Steve Kerr being like, I'm going to go with who's working down
Yes.
the stretch,
Yes.
and egos be damned.
Yep.
Not that Andrew Wiggins is, like it would be a different conversation if it was Draymond or Clay, just because like the pride and everything. But like,
Yeah. Then you get
Andrew,
locker room problems.
yeah, but Andrew Wiggins is a proven player. He played great for them during their title run 2 years ago, and he's going with it. He's been a good teammate this way. But on the other hand, I agree with you. For them to actually contend and be the team they want to be, he needs to be good enough to not be the first one to the bench of those scenarios.
I agree.
I do think he did some better things tonight. Like he got to the rim better, he finished better. The shot's still just not there. 1-3, he didn't make it. Still not rebounding the ball. I'm actually inclined to think the shot's a bigger deal than the rebounding. I almost feel like the fact that he can't hit shots is affecting the other parts of his game.
I agree.
But it's
he can't be Jonathan Kuminga if they're going to be the best version of
right.
themselves.
Kuminga
That's basically what he is right now.
Yeah, kind of. Kuminga is freakishly athletic that it's hard to stop him from going to the rim at all times. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins is a little smoother than that. He needs to hit his jumpers a little more.
Yeah. That's it. And if he starts knocking down threes, I think you're right. I think you start to see the rebounding numbers tick up. You see the defensive intensity tick up.
Confidence. Yeah.
So I think he'll get there. I'm not super worried about Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing to take from this is, okay, Wiggins is at best playing C- basketball relative to what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Clay, although he had the hero shot at the end, is nowhere near what he's capable of. Draymond's still working his way back from injury. Yeah, Steph is Steph, even though he got doubled and tripled for most of the night. And
I thought Keegan Murray did a good job on him off ball.
Sure.
Early in the game. Anyways.
They had like a strong strat. They went with the we'll be damned if you beat us defense,
Yep.
And it's the right way to go because like this is a balanced Warriors roster, but it's not like it's an explosive one outside stuff.
Yeah.
But my point is there's a bunch of stuff that they can clean up and get better at on this roster, and they're still getting wins. And that's what matters here, right? Like if you're able to generate wins when you're not peaking, that's kind of exciting as a team.
Yes. And that's where tonight, and honestly through the first 5 games now, somebody asked me the other day, they said, hey, who's the Warriors' second best player? And I don't know if I have a good answer. Right now, but it's everybody just kind of contributing in different ways and in ways that I don't think they're going to like. I think they're going to get more from Wiggins down the stretch. I think Moses Moody tonight, Moses Moody's at the point that I'm surprised when his shot doesn't go in, but I think you're going to get more from Moody and Kuminga down the stretch. Yeah. So I'm really in on how this roster is built where it's not super top heavy and you're just hoping for, oh my God, like Jonas Jerebko to hit a couple of threes. It's actually like, oh no, they can mix and match their closing lineups to opposing personnel. It doesn't have to be these 5 guys because the other 10 guys are terrible. They have a legit 9 or 10 player rotation where you feel pretty good about the 5 that are on the floor at all times.
It's putting a lot on Steve Kerr, honestly. Like if you think about it, it's like, all right, you have one transcendent all-time top 5, top 10 player, whatever you want to call him, very much still in his prime. And we have an assortment of very good players to good players. And it's not necessarily like there's not an obvious, this is my closing 5. There's like 8 players they can choose from depending on the matchup, which is to say Steve has to be very ahead of the curve looking at this being like, this is not the game for Looney to close. This is not the game for Wiggins doesn't have it tonight. GP2, and that takes that's a level of coaching that most NBA teams, like the only team I can think of who really coaches like that or plays like that is the Miami Heat with Eric Spoelstra, and that's partially by necessity. Another team where you're like, I don't know who your best 5 is. Kind of depends on the day, right?
Right.
It's not the easy. It's not the easiest way. Like in a perfect world, you want to have the 2017 Warriors where it's like, I don't really care. Steph, Clay, Iguodala, KD, Draymond, you're closing.
Right. And that's it.
That's what, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That sort of thing. So, but that's where we're at with this, and I think Steve's done a pretty good job to open the season here, and I like the way that it feels like they're very open minded to rotating their players and kind of going with what's working on any given night.
Yeah, and I think that's probably good, especially for a team that, like, as good as the vibes are right now, getting different people in to close, and the chat was pointing this out, and it's a great point. They have 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm having a hard time seeing 8 guys, 7 guys over 20 minutes, and then a couple guys over 15. And there was never a lineup on the floor. How many times over the last few years have you looked at a 5-player lineup that they've rolled out in a game and been like, what the hell is this? Like, what? This is never go. Why is this happening? Yeah. And that hasn't happened at any point this year, which is cool. What does an ideal closing lineup look like to you? Because I tried to write it down. Like, everybody maximized, everybody playing their best. I have Steph, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond. And then I need a 5th.
It's tricky because in theory, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond is the front court you want to close with, and you want to go with obviously Steph's one. And then it's do you want CP's ball handling and like security, or do you want Clay's shooting? Right.
Right. Or do you want GP2's defense?
Sure. Even throw that out there. But at the same time, it's so hard to put either Clay or CP3 on the bench for offensive reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they get into playoff series or just more serious games if they go offense defense, because offensively, I want Steph, CP, Clay on the floor at all times. Those are your 3 best offensive players.
Yeah.
Clay can hit no shots, and he's going to have the best defender on the other team like up in his business 40 feet away.
That's a good point.
And then, Chris Paul is your best decision maker, and you don't have 5 better offensive players than Chris Paul. Sorry, you don't.
No,
and then Steph's staff. So like you want those 3, but defensively, I mean, again, I really wish that their entire starting perimeter was not the same age as our group chat. So, it's like, like that. That's kind of where I'm like, do they end up in the playoffs being almost like a college team where you're going offense defense a little bit? Because
kind of.
I could see some matchups where like, I don't know if I want Clay, Steph, and CP out there defensively for extended periods of time. But I know I want them out there offensively.
I hate how much I'm enjoying watching Chris Paul play. I really hate it a lot, bro. I was ready to just be like, nope, I'm out on this guy. This isn't working. Why is he starting? But then he goes to the bench. There's no fuss. He's awesome running the second unit. He's closing games.
Could not be a better teammate. Just the puff pieces. Oh my God. Chris Paul taking the 6 a.m. Southwest flight to help Trace Jackson Davis and Brandon Pajemski in practice. He flew cross country just to get a sweat in with Steph. Like, my God, like we might put his jersey in the rafters and like, right. Like, it's like, how many games do you play for the team? I don't know, like 58. Yeah. Legend. Get him up there.
I've spent not my entire life. I haven't been out on Chris Paul forever, but I've been out on Chris Paul for a long time now. By the end of this year, you're gonna be like, as they're lifting the trophy, and be like, you know what, Chris Paul deserves this. He's earned this one.
I'm just envisioning, they win the title and they put Chris Paul on their shoulders like at the end of Rudy. That's what I need. that is what I need right there. It's just, I think there's actually something really satisfying about like, he's like a top 3 Warriors hater. Just in terms of like playoff rivalries, like fans hate him.
Sure.
He clearly knows how to like get under your skin and do all those little things. And to convert him to being a Warrior and like buying into being selfless off the bench is so gratifying. And it's early.
It's crazy.
But but it's like I don't know. It's more exciting than a young player who has no history. It's like, oh, now I'm going to convert my number one nemesis to be like my guy.
Sure. It's an unbelievable redemption arc, and it took 5 games.
Yes,
But bet if he starts not playing well, the hater hat's going back on. I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm ready to go.
You're ready for like a Mark Spears tweet, February 3rd. Chris Paul feels this team could get more out of him if he was in the starting lineup because they're on a 3-game losing streak. Draymond's, injured. He's got sunglasses on the sideline. Malika's concerned trolling on ESPN. What's going on in Golden State? That moment. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
When's the trade deadline?
Sometime
February
in mid-February.
9th? No, it's February 9th last year. Yeah, February. Nope, that's last year. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, right before the trade deadline, that's all going to go down. And how Chris Paul wants to go somewhere where he can start and compete for a title. And he's going to get traded to Miami.
February 8th this year, just to be clear.
Okay, February 8th. Okay.
But the point still stands.
So, yeah, no, February 3rd. You said February 3rd. That date nails it.
I was just...
and then they're trading into Miami.
I mean, I could have gone with like January 12th, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Feel good. Before we get you out of here, they are going back on the road. This kind of felt like a road game for the Warriors in general.
You knew that with no De'Aaron Fox, you knew they were going to toss their jerseys on the court and try and win. And they played like that.
Exactly. They are going to Oklahoma City. Then you got Detroit against our guy, Big Jimmy. You got Cleveland. Then you got Detroit. And then you got Denver. 4 games on the road. What do you predict their record is at the end of this road trip?
Cleveland, Detroit, Denver?
Okay. I messed it up. So let's just say it straight. OKC, Cleveland, Detroit on the back-to-back, then Denver before you come home.
Okay. I think they...
And OKC is the in-season tournament, which, as we know, is bigger than the NBA title.
Right. I think they beat OKC. I really like OKC, though. I'm a big OKC guy. I think they beat Oklahoma City because that one's for all the marbles at the play-in tournament.
Yes.
I think they beat Cleveland. And then I think they lose to Detroit.
Oh.
Yeah. Jalen Duren's going to have a huge game. And I think they lose to Detroit on the back-to-back. Like, I think Steph doesn't play, Clay doesn't play, and it's just one of those
young legs versus an old, tired, traveled team.
Yeah, 100%. Not that I'm like a big believer in Detroit. And then I don't think they're going 2-2. I think they're going 3-1 on the trip.
Are they going to get Are they going to get the big win in Denver that gets the national media going? Are the Warriors back? Are they back?
Yeah, if they're going to go 3-1 and they're losing to Detroit, yeah, screw it. They go into Denver and get that dub.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Realistically, if they're going to go 3-1, they probably win the first 3 and lose to Denver.
I take it. I will take it.
I'll take 3-1. I'll take 3-1 right now.
I think 3-1 would be a phenomenal road trip. However it comes, they could lose the first one against Oklahoma City. Although in season tournament we can't have that. But yeah,
you know what? Muggs in the chat makes a great point. Duren hasn't met Kevon Looney yet.
It's a fair point.
It's a really strong
very, very fair point.
It's going to be in a padded cell. Yeah, Dubs by 20 in Detroit. That's a great point by Muggs.
I keep thinking about how they lost in Detroit. So
2017, right?
Say it again.
Didn't they lose to Detroit in 2017?
Potentially. But I'm thinking about last year because they lost in Detroit after losing in Charlotte. They lost in Charlotte in what was a very embarrassing game. And Steph and all the veterans are like, we're not losing to. We're playing the back-to-back. And then they lost in Detroit. And that's where I was just like, it was, because you really only get one shot at the, you know what? I was going to get rested tonight, but I'm going to play. And then you just get it handed to you. It's just not a good look.
That's a tough scene. That you can't do that for sure, and they can't do that if they lose to Cleveland, and then go back to Detroit. You can't do it again this year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Kyle, I appreciate you. I know you
Yeah,
got to
man.
get up at 2:30 in the morning, 2:15.
3:30.
Are you even going to bed?
Dude, I'm leaving.
Go
I'm commuting to my job right now. It's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh no, they lost to the Pistons. No, they lost to the Pistons in 2015-16. They got smoked in Detroit. That's the game I was thinking of. Whew. That's gonna bug me all night.
There's a lot of uncharacteristic losses to the Pistons during this run. That's
It's
what I
really
learned.
Strange. I don't love it.
I didn't think it was as bad as that. Like I can think of the annual loss to Minnesota. That's a classic.
Mhm.
Even when Minnesota sucks, there's an annual loss in Minnesota on the calendar where you're just like, oh, they have no energy and they're tired.
Minnesota broke the long home winning streak.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I remember that one. That's when I was convinced Karl-Anthony Towns was going to be the best player in the NBA.
God.
Because he switched on to Steph and kind of shut down MVP Steph on the perimeter. I'm like, who is this guy? Wait, what? What? I didn't think that was possible because Steph had literally cooked every player in that situation for 100 games in a row.
And Cat just locked him up.
Yeah, it's funny how like you remember these moments. You're like, oh, I've just seen the future of the NBA. And it's not like Cat's a bad player or anything, but it was just like a little presumptuous because he had a good name.
The 2015-16 Warriors, I'm obsessed with this Detroit game now. Everybody played for Golden State. Steph had 38. They lost to Marcus Morris, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson, Ersan Ilyasova. That's your starting five.
Ersan's good.
The bench, Stanley Johnson, Warriors legend Anthony Tolliver, Aaron Baines, Brandon Jennings, and Steve Blake. That team beat the 2015-16 Warriors.
Brandon Jennings cooks. That's all I'm going to say.
Reggie Jackson had 20. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 20. Oh, that's brutal. 14 and 21 for Andre Drummond. Come on. Get aboard.
Yeah. Anyways. I don't want to go with it.
Warriors legend Steve Blake, by the way.
He had his moments.
Yeah. Anyways. Joel Anthony also on that team. Sorry. You're trying to get out of here.
Oh, no. I was trying to get you out of here. You're the one who has to go to bed.
No, I'm going to go watch this game right now. All right, guys.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
If you want to call in, press the hand icon. I'll bring you on stage.
See you guys. Appreciate it,
Kyle. I really do appreciate you. McWalters. Before we get to you, I gotta play this.
We figured this was going to be a weird one, the one weird home game in between two road trips. So have you unpacked and packed already, or how does it work? Have you done all your laundry? What happens?
I did the necessities for the laundry. Bag pretty much stayed the same. I got the chessboard. I got the Kindle. Nice. I'm ready to go back on the road, baby.
Nice. What did Draymond have to say with you after you made that shot?
I'm always looking for you. I don't know. The rest was a blur.
Clay, thanks for stopping, man. Great game winner. We'll see you on another.
Do you buy what? Hey, what is Clay reading on the Kindle?
What is Clay reading on the Kindle? He's reading the Mercury News. No, I mean, come on now.
How you doing, McWalters?
Sorry about that. I cut.
No.
Blame the internet there. My connection should be a lot better though. Yeah, no, I don't know what.
Oh no. Let me keep moving. Okay, I got Fernando up here. We are back.
Yeah, I do have Andy's Wi-Fi, not in my house. I hate Los Angeles. God damn.
How long are you down there?
I don't know. Depends. Family situation. Could be a while. But anyways, it's all good. Yeah, man. What a game, and what did Clay pack? I mean, who knows, man. I'm glad he's playing some chess, though, man. Let's strategize here. Let's get some more W's. I mean, beating the Kings. This game shouldn't have even been this close, but I'll take it.
How Big Walter, how all in are you on this team right now? Where's your belief level on the scale of last year to 2022?
Oh, I'm full in. They're 22. They're championship level. Like, it's really clear that Dunleavy's done a really good job. I mean, for much as I want to clown Dunleavy because I hated his years here as a player, he has washed all of that for me right now, and that's saying something because that's years of trauma that bent up.
It is very strange to be pro Mike Dunleavy,
frustration that he has just washed away by just doing something Bob should have done. You know what? I was thinking.
I was going to say, it is,
Sorry about that.
as someone who lived through the Dunleavy era, just like you, it is very strange to be pro Mike Dunleavy. I feel like my personality was based off of disliking Dunleavy 20 years ago in general.
Absolutely. Same here. And I had this moment in the car the other day where I think Bob should have just left after the championship. If Bob leaves after the championship, do we actually have do we actually have a better year last year because Bob's gone and Dunleavy looks like a very competent GM?
I don't know. I think it's first off, no one's criticized Bob. Like he 4-time champion, stepped away. Even if the last year was embarrassing, it doesn't really matter. He's won enough. But I do wonder the same thing as you. Like, what if Mike took the reins a year earlier? Because right now, I'm loving everything about the Dunleavy era. I just, it feels fresh and rejuvenated, like they needed a new set of eyes and everything. And maybe they didn't. Maybe none of it really matters, but it does feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fernando, what's up, man? Francisco, sorry.
No problem. Well, that said, saying Bob should have left. If Dunleavy was here last year, he would have been fired because the punch would have happened anyway. Wiseman would have forced his hand to play him at the beginning of the year anyway. So they would have a scapegoat, I think. So let's put it. Bob took one for the team. Let's put it that way.
Nice. I like it.
But, well, what a game. Like we all think, and you said before, they weren't going to win a game like this last year with all the turnovers from Steph, plus the careless play from Jordan Poole, the chaotic play, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But this would have been a game that 11-point lead in the third would have turned into 20, okay, for the Kings. And they kind of came back. Then they lost a little bit, but then in the end, they're a playoff team. And Dre played a good game, and well, the good vibes are back. And 4 in a row to start this, to lose this game at home would have been bad, but they pulled it off. That's great.
I agree. I mean, I'm just the positivity all around. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna Tatiana up real quick. Let's get the full party going on up here.
Oh,
we might as well. We got no Andy. We have some parties. So, man.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm just happy to be here with a couple of OGs here. I'm just trying to be like them right now.
Nice.
But this is exactly how the Magic game at home went. We were fooling around, even though Steph was out for that game. But considering how Steph was playing like Jordan Poole today, it probably equals out anyway. But we had to it really makes me focus on this. We have MVP Steph, regardless of how we feel about him today, about this game. We're getting Draymond back into the fold after the ankle injury, and Clay, even though he shot poorly, he was still making a bunch of winning plays, and he even got the game winner. So this, oh man, this game probably makes me appreciate the core even more now. Is like I probably took the core for granted because the playoffs felt like the trenches, man. It's like every game was like suffering that we didn't know how we were going to win the series. And it's like it went longer than it should have. We got embarrassed by the freaking Lakers, and I had to explain that to a couple people that I know. And then I have to accept that Jokic is the best player in the world because the Warriors didn't get their shit together. But now it's time to make sure that they get their act together and handle business next week, okay? We're going to win in Denver. It's like we're not going 3-1. We're going 4-0, okay? It's like, let's get that straight, okay? We're going 4-0, right? The vibes are just so immaculate. Forget this 7-3 start. We're going 9-1 again. Shout out to Andy. We're going to make sure that we go 9-1.
I like it. I mean, I've been kind of thinking about it. I'm curious what you guys think. So Wiggins is the obvious one of like, there's a lot of room for improvement based on how he's playing now and what we know he's capable of. Looking at the rest of the roster, I mean, Draymond, has he played 30 minutes in a game yet? No. Like there's still layers there. Looney and Steph are playing up to what we should expect. Clay, not so much. Chris Paul could get better offensively. Dario Saric finally shot the ball well, but in general has been, inconsistent. And I think there's a reasonable amount of room for growth on this team also, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. So anyone can go ahead by all means.
No, I mean, all right, there's plenty of room because the Draymond piece and the Wiggins piece. Draymond with the minutes and pair him with Saric, and don't make Saric play the 5 all the time. Make Draymond play the 5 or with Saric spacing the floor. And Wiggins, he needs to rebound better because today he scored from the inside, not shot well, but there's plenty of room there.
I agree with you. Yeah. We got Paratosh joining us, by the way.
It's the one. Guy. All right. Well, before I head on out, the one tactical adjustment I think relates to like the 22 championship season is like now that we see that the championship defense is here, it's like after a year-long hiatus, I think we're leaving a lot on the table with the transition stuff. It's like it's probably because of Wiggins trying to get into the groove, probably because of Draymond not feeling 100%. It's probably because of CP3 trying to be the adult and try to slow everything down to a fault. But we're leaving a little bit of meat on the table, especially when in 22, we were a top 5 offense with Draymond healthy because the defense was like generational. And although I don't think the defense is generational this year, it's still top 5 regardless. And so just getting a bunch of different stops, just like 5 stops in a row, and just leads to easy layups on the other end, it's like that is something that I'm just waiting to see for the team in general. But take it easy, guys.
Appreciate you, brother. Paratosh, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. Hey, Sam. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So first, full disclosure, I did not watch the game. Which, side note, it's turning out to be a pretty good omen because I think I've missed like 3 games and they've won all 3. So I might have to miss some more and watch like later, rewatch them. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to draw like kind of 2 comparisons for this game. The first one was for the actual game and with respect to the game against Indiana last year. I don't know if you remember, but I was so pissed off because Andrew Nemhard went off and like we lost that game. We had like we gave up like twice basically. Like we gave up a 10, like we had a 10-point deficit, and then we clawed back and then we went into a deficit again, and then I think we never recovered. So in terms of the squad this season, I think that we obviously lost the game last season, but if this squad was there with us last season, I don't think we lose that. So that's kind of like the distinction, because like you have high level role play from the bench, even if like none of the starters except Steph is doing anything. And the second point I wanted to make is that going back to the 2022 season, correctly, to start the season, it was just Steph of course, at an MVP level. We remember those 50-point games against Atlanta, Chicago, etc. And then the bench, because I don't think Wiggins also got into a groove until like December, if I'm not mistaken, even during his All-Star season. And there wasn't and Jordan Poole was playing well, but he wasn't playing like the way he was playing after March when Steph got injured. So it was mostly like Steph and the bench, and Steph and high-level role play from one or the other guy. Like it could have been like it was Otto Porter against the Suns on the Christmas Day. I want to say it was like GP2 against some other team. So it was always like someone else alongside Steph which was contributing, so that we were winning those games. And obviously Clay wasn't available until like February, January. So in terms of that, I feel like the start to this season also been similar, where like the starters are not like starters apart from Steph are not at the level that we know they can be. So in terms of that also, I do feel really optimistic, and I feel like kind of a replica of the roster from 2022, or like it's trying to do the same things at high level defense, and someone alongside Steph shows up and we win the game basically.
By the way, Paratosh, I agree. I appreciate you. Draymond is going off right now. Put it that way. Draymond, I'm gonna see if I can find video real quick.
Podcast? Ooh.
No, on the podium.
Oh, on the podium. Okay.
He's letting everyone know. Last year we had an awful team as far as chemistry goes. Last year was horseshit. It was hard to come to work and not fun. Okay. All right, Draymond. We'll see. I'm gonna see if I can get a little video.
Assault your coworker, it's hard to go to work. So.
Yeah, it's that's
when you want to assault your coworker.
It's also hard to go to work, yes, but most of us don't actually accomplish it at work.
Yeah.
Let alone get your organization's backing of like, hey, good job, because everyone wanted to do the same thing. But he makes a good point. It was so toxic there last year that really we can take the most hated warrior enemy and bring him in, and he's like a I don't know what to call it, some type of like prophet or something. He's like, oh my lord, like we bring him in. A human being. You're like, holy crap, what's going on? This is amazing.
Last year was horseshit. Hard to come to work. Not fun. This year, you see joy on guys' faces when they come in the building. This group that likes to be together. Oh, Draymond, I love it. I don't know. This is well, you know, someone had to say it. Someone had to come out with it a little sooner. We'll see how the whole thing plays out, but
could Draymond have saved the franchise by punching Jordan Poole and basically exposing how awful of a person Jordan Poole is in terms of just like not being able to handle this? Well, he's not an awful person, but you know, like just look what he's doing in Washington right now, in his own space. Jordan Poole somewhere because just have number 5 on it.
This is phenomenal stuff. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at this. We can get out of here on this. Yeah. Get more out of this, but I'm.
We've blown you away, Sam. This is great.
I mean, through the first week and a half, Jordan Poole's put together hard. They got rid of other young players who sucked, and then they brought in some veterans. This is a happy. You know what? I'm even more bullish on this team than I was at the start of the show. We're gonna end it on that.
Yes.
On that.
So are we going undefeated on the road? We going undefeated? Are we that bullish? Are we going undefeated on the road? I want to hear you say it. Sam.
Going. I'm saying. I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna hedge with a 3-1.
Okay.
I'm hedging
3-1. I'll give us one. I'll give us the one random, but I'm feeling good. I think we can win all of them. I think we can actually go into Denver as long as we're healthy and they're healthy. I feel like we're fine there. Denver isn't a bunch of world beaters. They're not a generational franchise. They actually got really lucky that they had nothing to walk in front of them and got a play-in team in the finals. Play what seed was the Lakers? They got to play them in the championship. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Appreciate everyone. Have a great evening.